Tekken 7 is an immersive 3D fighting game that tests a player's reflex, skill, and mental prowess within the environmental battlefield of gameplay. Now, one of the most important things about Tekken is movement, and it's a very basic skill, but it can also be one of the hardest things to master in the game. Now, you'll notice there's various forms of movement, whether it's just backdashing, sidestepping, sidewalking. You have to use this movement to actually gain an advantage in the match and really prevent your opponent from overwhelming you. You'll notice here that I'm just showing some of the basic movement that you can use with Kazuya and how you'll be able to react to that in gameplay. Tekken 7 allows you to move around the playing field seamlessly, so whether you're sidestepping to evade, dashing forward to advance, or holding back to defend, the controls in Tekken allow you to really immerse yourself within the virtual space in the fight. And it's using this movement with the actual moves from your move list that really helps create the flow of the overall fight. Now, you'll notice here that some characters have stances, and they also have different options from the stances. So, certain characters like Hwoarang or Xiaoyu will have certain movement stances such as right foot forward, right flamingo, and that really has a different moveset within those stances. But what you have to remember is, once you're in these stances, you don't have access to your natural move list. Aside from that, other characters also have natural movement stances as well, such as the sway back, which you see from Paul and Nina here, and they also have this quarter circle forward motion, which adds to their overall flair and their individuality. So it's important as you learn your characters within Tekken that you kind of learn all the different options. Now, here's a quick example of how important movement is. You see this option with Kazuya, this poke string. You're able to sidestep it with Akuma because you know it's not a tracking move. Because of that, you can create an opportunity and land a huge juggle and overwhelm your opponent. Now, using the same kind of poke strategy here, Kazuya is now going for a tracking move, and Akuma's going to have to adjust because he can no longer sidestep the tracking move. But because of that, if you do have the knowledge and you're able to punish, you can still turn the tides of the battle. So there is movement, there's also not moving. You have to know both times. Now, one of the things you got to remember as well is movement is so important, especially against certain characters like Akuma, who has a fireball. Knowing how to move and how to kind of evade his fireball game is important. So as you practice Tekken 7, it's important that you learn the basics for every character and learning how to move around the playfield. And we look forward to showing you more of this from the community as Tekken 7 comes out. Tekken 7 is around the corner, and we have a new series of videos to kind of help give you guys an idea and a heads up of the new techniques in the game. So Power Crush, it's a new technique that's used as an armor attack. It absorbs opponents' attacks, and this will really go power through a lot of the highs and the mid attacks in the game and kind of shift momentum in your favor. The Power Crush itself can be risky if thrown out carelessly, so make sure you time it properly. It'll give you a physical and mental advantage over your opponent in the matchup. Now, if your opponent is using a series of moves where you might find an opening, the Power Crush might be the right solution to gain that momentum back. You'll notice there that it is weak against lows and throws. The Power Crush will actually elude these two attacks, so it's best used when being pressured either in the open or near walls against unsuspecting opponents, so try not to abuse it too much. Now, if used in the right situation, you can even use this opportunity to land a Power Crush and probably combo into a Rage Art or even a Rage Drive or a huge combo to end your opponent's onslaught. We look forward to talking more about the Power Crush and other techniques within Tekken 7 as the game comes out on June 2nd, so we hope you guys stay tuned. Let's take a closer look at the Rage system within Tekken 7. So Rage Arts and Rage Drives are new mechanics in the Tekken franchise, and looking at the Rage Art that you see on the screen, it is akin to super moves that you see in other fighting games. So once you get to a certain level of life on your life bar, once you're about 25%, your life bar will start glowing red, and it'll give you access to these ultra powerful moves. They work very much like a Power Crush where they can absorb attacks, but instead of just absorbing mids and highs, they'll absorb every single attack. One thing to keep in mind, though, is that you cannot abuse these. They are not safe. For most of the cast, they're very unsafe, and you can get launched and punished for it. There are some exceptions to this rule, of course, and another thing you need to reconsider is when using them, especially within combos, they scale a lot. So you'll notice here about 40% of the life gone, but once you have less life, you deal more damage using the Rage Art. So one thing to consider, if you're able to land a clean or raw Rage Art, you're able to do way more damage. And looking here, you do about 50% damage with the sliver of life left. Now, looking at the Rage Drive, there are a number of ways to take a look at it. It's much more tactical. It gives you access to combos that you might not normally have unless you have Rage equipped. one of the great things about them is it gives you access to combos that you're not able to do normally, and they can really turn the tide in your favor if you know you're going to land a hit. They often put you in advantageous situations as well, so if you even have it blocked, sometimes you'll have an access to 50-50 mix-up that can overwhelm your opponent. Now, just looking at the different aspects of Rage, again, it gives you access to the Rage Art, which you just saw, the Rage Drive, but for some characters, it gives you other options like Kazuya's Devil form and his human form. Now, the key to victory here is knowing what your opponent's going to be doing and reacting to that. So, for example here, the 1-2 into the low that Law is going to be doing, one option that you have is you can block it and punish it with the Rage Drive and a huge combo that can end your opponent. If you're not confident in doing such a big combo, you can always just opt for going for the Rage Art, which will guarantee victory. Now, these are just a few of the things that we'll be going over in the coming weeks on Tekken.com, so make sure you guys stay tuned.